Tonight, a father's heartbreak.
Words can't adequately describe the utter devastation we feel.
As Melbourne wraps its arms around the victims of the Auburn South school tragedy. Exclusive, the $2 billion boost to create a second capital city. The Demons rocked by a sudden resignation. Roads turned into rivers as Spain's obliterated by flash floods. Donald Trump trash talks his opponents after a Joe Biden blunder. And Trick or Treat, we'll take you inside Melbourne's best Halloween haunts.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Peter Mitchell starts now.
Good evening. Jack Davies' devastated father has delivered a moving tribute to his boy as Melbourne rallies to help victims of the Auburn South primary school tragedy. Michael Davies says the family has taken comfort from the many messages of love about an 11-year-old boy who left a positive mark on everyone he met.
A family broken by unspeakable grief. But Michael Davies' first words were to thank others.
On behalf of our family, Jade and I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks for the support that we have received over the last few days.
11-year-old Jack died on Tuesday afternoon, metres from where friends and strangers have laid flowers and messages in his memory.
Words can't adequately describe the utter devastation we feel as we come to terms with the sudden, overwhelming loss of our Jack. Son, brother and friend to many.
Jack was sitting at a table with 4 classmates when a car ploughed through the fence. The others were all hospitalised with serious injuries. One was discharged earlier today.
We wish them all the support to assist in their healing in the weeks and the months ahead.
Today, new details about the frantic moments after the crash.
Our heartfelt thanks to Millie, the Auburn South school receptionist, and the former emergency department nurse who stayed with Jack, providing comfort the entire time.
His little sisters came dressed in Jack's basketball team's cheer uniforms. He was an avid player and a futsal star in the making.
He was always one of my first names to pick for our Vic teams, and then he was lucky enough off his last nationals to be chosen for the Australian team.
Schoolmates have written chalk messages all over the school grounds, from footpaths to classroom walls. A testament to a child who will be sorely missed.
He was a coach's dream. Never argued, did exactly what he was told, and he brightened up a training session.
This morning, the Premier and her deputy came to pay their respects.
It doesn't matter how long you've been doing this, it is extremely, it's like a punch in the gut.
The 40-year-old driver is yet to face any charges.
The investigation is still ongoing, and we have a number of avenues of inquiry that we're chasing down.
A GoFundMe set up for the family has already raised more than $170,000.
We wish to thank the community. You have wrapped your arms around our family, providing comfort, peace and support in a time of unspeakable tragedy. We thank you.
And Cassie Zervos is at Auburn South Primary School. Cassie, there's developing news on the police investigation.
Well, Mitch, 7 News can reveal since the devastating crash, investigators have been conducting a mechanical reconstruction. It is where they scientifically probe things like the angle of the driver's seat, movement of the gear stick, and of course, speed of the car. Once that is complete, police tell me they will re-interview the 40-year-old driver to see if what they discover matches her version of events. Mitch.
Cassie Zervos at Hawthorn East. Thank you. Melbourne's off-field dramas are deepening tonight, with CEO Gary Pert quitting after a tumultuous few months. Chief football reporter Mitch Cleary has more, and Mitch, something had to give.
Oh, Peter, it's the latest chapter in a nightmare period for the Demons. Gary Pert following President Kate Roffey out the door. It's understood Pert lost the trust of senior players in a year the Demons missed finals. He also raised Clayton Oliver's name in trade talks with rival clubs before the board stepped in to keep the star midfielder. Pert was at the helm for the drought-breaking Flag in 2021, but it's unravelled since, with alarming questions into the club's culture. He will remain in a consulting role to try and secure funds for Melbourne's move to the Caulfield Racecourse. And while the Demons did launch a review into its operations this off-season, the new president insists it has nothing to do with Pert's departure.
Look, I want to separate anything that people will say about the reviews and Gary leaving. There wasn't 1 ounce of question about Gary's role coming out of the review.
Former MCC President Stephen Smith will nominate for the Demons board. While that much-awaited review will drop tomorrow, Peter, we'll have the very latest and fresh details shortly in sport.
Mitch Cleary at Amy Park, thank you. Brave brothers have led a powerful vigil for their sister outside the South Morang home where she was allegedly killed. Nikita Azzopardi's partner has been charged with murder as the 35-year-old's family rallies in her honour.
United in sorrow, a moment of silence for Nikita Azzopardi outside the home where she was found dead.
She fought for her life, and I'm going to continue fighting for her.
More than 20 people gathered to pay their respects at the South Morang property, embracing her heartbroken family, laying flowers and notes in her honour.
No one at all deserves this. Our baby sister didn't deserve this. I was always known to be her bigger, stronger protector. I was always meant to be there for her.
This was the last time the family saw her alive, celebrating her nephew's birthday. The once vibrant 35-year-old was found dead just days later. Her brothers, once bonded by love, now grappling with grief.
I mean, 71 people this year, and I don't know who's going to be number 72. I mean, it's 73, and when does it stop? It's just gut-wrenching. And
Nikita's boyfriend of 2 years, Joel McAuliffe, has been charged with murder. Police allege the 33-year-old killed the much-loved accountant sometime between Saturday and Monday morning.
She's a strong girl, man.
She's a strong girl. But behind the beautiful smiles of women, and it made me realise you just don't know what's behind it.
Rochelle Brown, 7 News.
After attacking the Prime Minister all week, the opposition is on the back foot tonight over the travel perks saga. Peter Dutton has been forced to defend his free use of Gina Rinehart's private plane and the reputation of a shadow minister.
At an IGA in WA, checking out the checkout, as he's forced to double-check flights he took on mining billionaire Gina Rinehart's private jet.
That was at zero cost to the taxpayer.
Admitting his office did ask for him to use her jet in 2022 to fly from Rockhampton to a Bali bombing memorial in Sydney and back to Mackay. He says because the government denied him a RAF jet. Asked if he could see a conflict of interest.
No, I can't, I'm sorry.
And defending his shadow Transport Minister Bridget McKenzie, while attacking Prime Minister Anthony Albanese over upgrades he disclosed, she originally denied accepting any herself, then admitted one, and has now asked Qantas, Virgin and Rex whether there are more she's forgotten.
If there are inconsistencies with my public declarations, I will absolutely make those changes.
And if she has broken Parliament's disclosure rules...
Will you sack her from your front?
No, I won't.
That as Labor MPs privately asked why it took 4 long, damaging days for Anthony Albanese to finally declare he did not ask former CEO Alan Joyce or any other Qantas employee for flight upgrades.
It's a communication plane crash, so to speak.
A photo emerging today of Peter Dutton lunching recently with journalist Joe Aston, author of the now rejected claims against the Prime Minister.
Joe I've known for a long time, as I've known obviously a lot of journalists.
Oppositions need to be very careful about playing the man.
Likening this to the so-called Utegate attacks on Kevin Rudd, later exposed as bogus. That it took Anthony Albanese 4 days to issue that denial is almost unbelievable, and now there are reports of unnamed Qantas insiders questioning the denial, claiming Mr Albanese's office requested upgrades for him. And Peter Dutton's admission that he wouldn't act against any of his frontbenchers who broke the rules isn't any better. What voters want is clear. Tighten the rules, pump the perks and end the gravy train. Now. Mitch?
Mark Riley in Canberra, thank you. Police are investigating a crash at Laverton in the early hours of this morning. It's believed a black BMW collided with a concrete barrier on Princess Highway before flipping onto its roof just after 1:30 a.m. The car's occupants had already fled the scene by the time police arrived. Investigators are still trying to determine what led to the crash. A damning report has revealed Jacinta Allen's Suburban rail loop project is overflowing with executives on bloated salaries. Their staff are doing well too, with dozens earning up to $400,000 a year.
The Allen government calls it transformative. The opposition has a different take.
It seems pretty clear from the annual report of the Suburban rail loop that we don't have a railway line as much as we have a gravy train.
The Suburban rail loop is $2.9 million in the red, but it hasn't stopped a staffing bonanza. The project has 650 office staff, among them 102 executives who share a money pile of $33 million. Further down the chain, there are 79 staff on wages between $200,000 and $400,000.
It's spending more time on delivering very high-paying jobs for a project which will cost over $216 billion and which does not have, for the first stage, any secure funding.
The report is one of almost 100 dumped online by the state government today, a long-standing tradition criticised as a way to bury information.
It's out there in the public domain, and then you can work your way through it. And then you can take your time and you work your way through it.
I have not lost any sleep worrying about you reading annual reports.
Or the more than 100 that were missing.
The Financial Management Act requires, under Section 46, that these reports are tabled.
Among the missing 131 documents are annual reports from both the Children's Court and Supreme Court. There's no update on the financials from our major hospitals, including the Royal Children's and Monash Health. As for when the reports will finally appear, the government couldn't say. The opposition, however, had some idea around the timing.
Government will do what it's always done, take out the trash when it suits it politically.
Chanel Vella, 7 News.
Donald Trump has seized on comments from Joe Biden, who described Trump supporters as garbage. Instead of hitting back, the Republican hopeful arrived at a rally in a rubbish truck.
Not one to waste an opportunity.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honour of Kamala and Joe Biden.
Donald Trump arriving in Wisconsin after the US president trash talk diehard Republicans.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
And it's left a mess for his deputy.
I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for.
They treat you like garbage. They treat our whole country like garbage.
Trump seizing on the comments but overlooking his own long history of divisive takedowns.
This is a sick group of people, I'm telling you. They're scum. They're scum. And they want to take down our country. They are absolute garbage.
Please welcome the President of the United States and First Lady Jill Biden.
As President Biden found himself even further alienated from the Harris campaign in the dying days of this election season.
For the next President of the United States.
Final endorsements keep coming. Lifelong Republican Arnold Schwarzenegger the latest. The Governator shunning Trump's claims the US has become a trash can for the world. He's now backing Harris. Celebrities, though, won't swing this race, but a tiny pocket of Wisconsin just may hold all the answers.
I think he's hardworking and he's really out for the average person.
In Door County, picking presidents is what they do best.
Yeah, I can't trust either one of them.
The region holds the national distinction of siding with every White House winner since George W. Bush in 2000. Battle lines in Door County could not be clearer. Take these neighbours, for instance. Proud Donald Trump supporters just here, Kamala Harris supporters just next door. But the truth is, most voters here in this region now just want this election over with.
I don't think we're going to move the needle at this point anymore, so I don't think it's worth the conversation anymore. I'm ready for it to be done.
In Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, David Woywood, 7 News.
And this Sunday night, join Michael Usher for a special edition of Spotlight covering the race to the White House. And Seven's live coverage of the US presidential election count begins at 11:30 on Wednesday morning. More than $240 million is unclaimed Medicare benefits is ready to be paid. It's money owed to more than 930,000 Australians who haven't provided their current bank details to Medicare.
People should go to the MyGov website or the MyGov app, link up their Medicare card to their MyGov account, and then make sure that the bank details are up to date.
The average Australian with unpaid benefits is owed $260. Melbourne suburbs are undergoing a spooky makeover for Halloween. Seven's resident ghoul, Paul Dowsley, has hunted down some of our most haunted houses, and Paul Reservoir is looking frightfully good.
Yeah, the house, Mitch, is pretty scary, but how about some of the visitors? And I probably shouldn't have used that blunt razor blade to shave my head. You'd think I would have learned by now. And as the darkness sets in, I feel like I'm getting a little bit crazy. But trick-or-treating is happening across the suburbs. So many kids all dressed up and having fun. It's for the young and for the young at heart to look fabulous. How fabulous do these guys look? All the sugar going around. I'm not sure there's going to be much sleep tonight. Because what else do you want tonight, kids? Lollies!
Planning a big fright night means days of preparation. Melbourne's Halloween houses of horror, filled with ghosts, gremlins and gore.
It's just the one day of the year where you can let your darker side go out to play for a little while.
Some residents planning for the spookiest night of the year for months, dedicated to the dead.
It sparks such joy in people. We've had so many people pull up in their cars and just kids out the window going, oh my God, I love it.
Pet dogs spoiled with body loads of bones as front yards become graveyards. Some faces painted red, others a familiar shade of orange. Plus baby spiders, eye-popping encounters, even the electric chair.
I just love building stuff and get to create my own horror wonderland.
A day of big scares and big spending. Retailers treated to a $450 million injection. 45% of Australians buying for trick-or-treating, 37% on costumes.
Running this marathon that is Halloween for us, I'm already a zombie, basically. I don't need makeup.
Last-minute decisions meant a frantic day for fancy dress shops. Even the smallest spooks ready for a scare. As Halloween's popularity continues to grow in Australia, it's the perfect time to unmask your inner ghoul and find some creepy new friends.
Sometimes we start off with a few tears but end up with smiles.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
Yes, a big night ahead, I think. Tim's here with a look ahead to sport. And Tim, we've finally heard from Christian Petrarca publicly.
Yes, Mitch, this is a real treat. The superstar midfielder has cleared the air on his off-season of doubt. Also, one of footy's oldest rivalries is back as the race to secure a final spot heats up. James Cummings' Melbourne Cup fancy all set to peak at the right time. And we speak with Glenn Maxwell on his mental health struggles.
OK, thank you very much, Tim. Police are promising to be out in force for the Melbourne Cup long weekend. Estelle Griepink has the latest.
Mitch, police are planning a 5-day crackdown. We'll reveal the time you're most likely to be fined next on 7 News.
Also ahead, family and friends gather to remember a young Melbourne model after a dance party tragedy. Also, dozens killed as Spain faces a flooding disaster. Why it's crucial to make sure your trampoline is tied down. And a sneak peek inside the birdcage ahead of Flemington's week to shine. Family and friends have gathered in Hawthorn to farewell a Melbourne model hit and killed by an allegedly drunk and drugged driver. 24-year-old Elise Hodder had just arrived at a Kooyong dance party with friends when she was struck. A 23-year-old man has been charged over her death and released on bail. After a tragic week on our roads, Victoria's top traffic cop has issued a blunt warning to drivers for the Melbourne Cup long weekend. Estelle Griepink is in Pascoe Vale South tonight, and Estelle, police will be out in force for Operation Furlong.
Well, Mitch, police are on a mission to keep drivers safe, and this is why new data released today shows that November was our deadliest month last year for fatalities. 32 people lost their lives, 13 of those on Cup Day alone, and more than 3,000 lead-foot motorists were caught, with police clocking the most speeding drivers in Wangaratta, followed by Geelong, Moorabool and several other regions on the Surf Coast. The most common time that people were caught speeding was actually between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m.
We will have a real focus on speed. I just ask people, the race this week is on the racetrack, not on the roads.
The 5-day traffic blitz will end on Tuesday at midnight, Mitch.
Estelle Griepink at Pascoe Vale South, thank you. The worst natural disaster in Spain's modern history is unfolding tonight. Deadly floods have roared through the southeastern part of the country, killing at least 95 people.
An ocean of floodwater swallows everything. These cars tossed like toys, the deluge roaring through towns around the Spanish city of Valencia. Some communities simply washing away. Rescue crews were able to reach this woman and her dog, winched from the front door to safety. So many weren't so lucky. Tsunami-like water catching drivers off guard. A year's worth of rain falling in just 8 hours. Floodwaters soon rising hard and fast. This was the devastating aftermath in the regional capital. Population 800,000. We lost everything, this woman says. The water was up to 2 metres high. In darkness, thermal imaging cameras were needed to find those in desperate need of help.
As the downpour dies down and floodwaters recede, it reveals the catastrophic level of damage playing out all across Valencia. This is one example. Car after car after car after car stacked on top of one another, illustrating the force of these floodwaters that have left a 2,000-year-old city unrecognisable.
With a massive clean-up job ahead in some parts, Spain's Prime Minister
todos los medios necesarios hoy mañana
warned the storm continues to wreak havoc with more bad weather forecast. The death toll is expected to rise, the water having filled entire homes. Recovery crews are going house to house, car to car, the grim aftermath of Mother Nature's sheer force. In Valencia, Ben Downey, 7 News.
A mother's had the shock of her life driving through suburban Sydney when a trampoline flew off a ute, smashing into her car. It happened last Friday, with the ute driver leaving the scene while others stopped to help. She says her windscreen, mirror and roof were damaged, but she's just glad her children were not in the car. Jane Bunn joins us now. And Jane, how are conditions tracking for trick-or-treating?
Well, Mitch, the showers have now cleared, but it's a little chilly. After peaking at 18.7, temperatures dropped this afternoon. We're now 15. This ends an above-average month. Days by more than 1 degree, nights by nearly 2. Even after the recent cool La Nina years, we now average 2 degrees warmer than it was like in the 1970s. And looking ahead at the 1st of November, it's a chilly one, but it does warm up for the weekend. I'll have the Cup Week outlook after sport, Mitch.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Jane. Dandenong is set for a mega makeover. Next, exclusive details on the $2 billion plan to create a second capital city for Melbourne. Also ahead, Victoria's Viper Squad seizes millions in gold, cash and luxury goods. The drunk driver jailed for ploughing into the British PM's country estate. And a sick band member causes last-minute chaos for Coldplay on night 1 of their Marvel Stadium spectacular. Viper Task Force detectives have seized more than $3.5 million worth of gold in raids linked to meth supply. Warrants were executed at homes at Taylors Hill and Kealba and a storage facility at Brooklyn. $1.5 million in cash was also seized, along with luxury handbags worth at least $500,000. 3 people were arrested and released pending further inquiries. Dandenong will almost be unrecognisable when a $2 billion redevelopment is complete. It was recently approved by the Planning Minister and the goal is to create a second capital city.
Dandenong, like you've never imagined it. 500 apartments, including affordable housing. Shops, offices, hotel, perhaps down the track a hospital. This is the new face of Melbourne's southeast.
We are so excited about this project and the opportunities.
It's worth $2 billion and has just been approved by the Planning Minister. Construction starts in around 18 months.
So Dandenong is currently the second largest economic hub in metropolitan Melbourne, and basically what's missing is a commercial, retail and residential mini city that we want to create.
Developer Mohan Du is responsible for 2 Marriott hotels in South Bank and Docklands.
What do you hope it does to the reputation of Dandenong?
I think what it'll do is allow people to discover how fantastic multicultural Dandenong is.
Sometimes what you hear about Dandenong isn't reflective of the community down there, and I think this project will help people alleviate any of those concerns and really make it a second capital city of Victoria.
This strip, called Little India, will have a place in the redevelopment, but there has been some concern among traders who've been told their rents could more than double in the new building.
We are prepared to pay higher rent, but not very, very high.
But in his ageing shop that leaks when it rains, there's excitement for what's ahead.
I think it's a very impressive plan, yes. My background is also I'm an architect, so I love to have these developments done.
Blake Johnson, 7 News.
A driver has been jailed for almost 3 years for deliberately targeting the Prime Minister's country retreat, Chequers, in Buckinghamshire. He was blind drunk behind the wheel when he caused more than $150,000 damage. Mega band Coldplay has been derailed by a health emergency just minutes before its first Australian concert was about to kick off at Marvel Stadium. Bass player Guy Berryman fell violently ill backstage, sparking a reshuffle.
Night 1 of Coldplay's Australian tour, the very definition of the show must go on.
Our beautiful bass player Guy is very, very sick. I'm sorry for all of you guys down here who are waiting to see Guy. He's not going to be able to play today.
Taking to the stage without their full lineup for the first time in the band's history, their engineers stepped up with just 30 minutes notice.
So you'll hear Guy, but you just won't see him because he's vomiting.
Powered by renewable energy and fueled by a determination to deliver, they managed a performance that was out of this world.
I suspect the other members of the group really were working overtime to try and compensate, to try and override any disappointment.
Let's play this for Shane and his family, okay?
There was an emotional dedication to Chris Martin's close friend, the late Shane Warne, and a special guest spotted in the audience, a Melbourne family starstruck by the original Karate Kid. Guy Berryman doesn't have long to recover. There's another 3 shows in Melbourne before the band heads to Sydney.
Think he's going to be back tonight?
Yeah. Musicians are dedicated.
Hopefully everyone is together tonight and we get to enjoy.
Rochelle Brown, 7 News.
Supermarket shareholders aren't happy. Next, see the fiery showdown over prices and what it means for shoppers. Also ahead on 7 News, a frighteningly close call for a lead-foot driver. Lawyers called in to protect Australian borrowers in a dodgy loan scandal, and why it's raining cats and dogs for a special exhibition at Fed Square. There are close calls on our roads, and then there's this. The Audi SUV had been spotted swerving in and out of traffic on the Hume Highway in Sydney on Tuesday night before hitting a Mitsubishi sedan and flipping at least 7 times into oncoming traffic. Incredibly, no one was seriously injured. The Audi's 17-year-old P-plater was taken to hospital for mandatory testing. Woolworths executives have faced off with shareholders as the supermarket giant defends its reputation at the company's annual general meeting. Rival Coles, meanwhile, is claiming some of its prices are actually falling.
AGM anger.
Woolworths, stop selling extinction.
Outside, shareholders take aim at Woolworths' environmental record.
It is time for them to stop selling extinction.
Inside, at its financial record.
You could fly over to England and go to Sainsbury's or Tesco's and buy your Tim Tams or Vegemite far cheaper than you can buy them in Woolworths.
The board slammed for slugging customers.
I am acutely aware of the pressure on Australians.
While announcing a profit warning for shareholders.
The Australian grocery sector has never been more competitive.
While Woolworths had headaches here today, the main concern for both it and Coles is upcoming legal action in the federal court.
The chairman rejecting the ACCC's claim the supermarkets fooled customers with fake discounts.
We disagree with their assessment that the price dropped program was misleading.
As competitor Coles announced, some prices actually are coming down. Cheaper livestock seeing cheaper meat. Some dairies down, particularly cheese. Drops too in the cleaning, laundry, health and beauty aisles. But on average, prices are still rising, up 1.5%, driven by a tougher season for fruit and vegetables. Amelia Brace, 7 News.
Australia's financial services watchdog is taking up the fight to a second-tier lender. It's accusing Oak Capital of predatory lending practices, which left elderly borrowers with nothing.
They lost their home and almost lost the will to fight.
Anxiety attacks, depression.
Grandparents Brian and Betty Roma now live 4 hours away from their Brisbane family, the only rental they could afford after losing everything, defaulting on a $220,000 loan through mid-tier lender Oak Capital, unable to chase down rapidly climbing interest.
They then came up with $275, then it went to $400, and then it went to nearly $900.
Now Australia's financial services watchdog ASIC is taking up the fight, alleging that over 4 years, Oak Capital made up to 47 loans, totalling more than $37 million, accusing the company of unconscionable conduct to avoid the National Credit Code.
The fees and charges and interest rates were unreasonably high.
The Roma's loan allowed the interest rate to double at any time, and in the event of a default, list the property for auction. ASIC claims Oak Capital's lending model was cunning and targeted.
That really, we allege, prey on vulnerable people in the most desperate of financial circumstances.
Oak Capital's CEO wasn't available for interview today, but in a statement, the company said it's committed to defending its position, maintaining it complied with the law and industry practices.
It's very tough. We're both pensioners.
ASIC is seeking huge penalties if the case is won. Jacqueline Robson, 7 News.
We've been given the first glimpse of Flemington's luxurious birdcage ahead of Melbourne Cup week. From delicious prawns to a private jet experience, Melina Saris takes us inside the VIP marquees straight after sport. A new exhibition showcasing the special bond between humans and their pet cats and dogs opens tomorrow in Melbourne. The NGV display at Fed Square's Ian Potter Centre features more than 250 works, including paintings, sculptures, photography and tapestry. Organisers say the exhibition explores the deep symbolism, loyalty and playful companionship these animals represent. Tim Watson's back with sport, and Tim, there's breaking news at Melbourne and it's not good.
Mitchell player has just been hit with a 4-year ban. We'll have the breaking details next. Also, Mark Harvey and David Parkin return for one of footy's fiercest rivalries. A Melbourne Cup fancy hoping to peak at just the right time. Glenn Maxwell reveals plans to revive his Test career, and the Dodgers rally to upstage the Yankees in an epic finale to the World Series. Welcome back. In breaking news, Melbourne's Joel Smith has been hit with an AFL career-ending 4-year ban for cocaine use and trafficking. The 28-year-old tested positive after a game in August 2023. It's the latest shock in a tumultuous few months for the D's. And today, Christian Petrarca broke his silence on culture issues at the club.
His first public media appearance since wanting out, Christian Petrarca left as many questions as answers.
I'm in a really good headspace with everything and just excited for day one of pre-season.
Coincidentally, he spoke 10 minutes before Gary Pert was gone as CEO. Pert's famous line suggesting the Demons' culture was the best he'd seen in 40 years, the precursor for a nightmare season and Petrarca's discontent.
And you're happy with the culture at the club?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think for me, culture is an interesting word. I think it's a high performance industry, and for me, we're always trying to improve and get better. And I think for me, getting good people through the door is the right thing.
After an off-season trip to Austria, the midfielder yesterday began contact training for the first time since his gruesome spleen injury.
Body's feeling great, yeah, in a really good spot. Did some testing around my ribs and my abs and stuff like that, and everything's really good. I think still got to hit a few progressions with my training, but I think I'll be ready for day one.
The Demons football review will drop tomorrow. It's expected to demand a greater focus on player leadership under Max Gawn, starting with a pre-season camp when players return. Some words of wisdom from David Parkin and Mark Harvey. 32 years since Essendon last played at Princes Park, an AFLW clash Saturday night, where the Blues can take the Bombers' finals fate out of their own hands.
Just in my opinion, just the nicest thing that could probably happen in footy.
Yeah, I was just actually looking at some of his notes back from 1992, just seeing if he had any inspiring words. But definitely there is going to be a bit of that spice that, it's an old rivalry.
Mitch Cleary, 7 News.
And Geelong captain Patrick Dangerfield will extend his career into an incredible 19th season after signing on until the end of 2026. Mitch Duncan signed on for 2025 and is set to become the 7th Cat to reach 300 games. Reece Stanley's also been given a new 1-year deal. James Cummings is hopeful Zazozi will make a statement on her return to Flemington. The 4-year-old mare will have a final hit out in the Empire Rose Stakes on Saturday before lining up in the Melbourne Cup.
To see Zazozi have a really good gallop on the weekend ahead of the Melbourne Cup would be a really good lead up in my eyes.
With international favourite Jan Bruegel and Via Sistina ruled out, Chris Waller's Buckaroo is now the favourite. Victorian cricket superstar Glenn Maxwell has opened up to 7 News about his mental health struggles. The 36-year-old pinpointing the moment he knew he had a problem as he now prepares to revive his Test career.
It's a side of Glenn Maxwell not everyone gets to see.
I'm in a really good place now and was able to play a one-dayer out here at the Junction and run around like I was a teenager again and had a lot of fun out here as well.
Used to dominating, Maxwell revealing in his new book The Showman he faced much greater demons during an Australian team meeting in 2019.
There was a lot of talk about 100% effort, 100% focus, 100% energy, and it was almost like that number of 100% was almost like a tick that went off in my head where I was like, I just don't have that to give, and it all sort of came together in one big moment where I understood that I was suffering with depression.
Used to doing this, the 36-year-old now wants to do more of this in the upcoming Test tour of Sri Lanka.
I think I'll be doing myself a disservice if I gave up that dream too early.
The ability to play on that horizontal plane, sweeping and reverse sweeping, I think will be a critical skill if the conditions are extreme. Does he fit that profile? 100% he fits that profile.
Another question facing McDonald, Australia's top order. Selectors haven't made a call yet, and after today, who could blame them? Whiz-kid Sam Constas out for a duck against India A. Cam Bancroft also gone for naught. Marcus Harris for 17, leaving the race for the first Test wide open. Theodoropoulos, 7 News.
Alex de Minaur is on the cusp of a debut appearance at the ATP Finals. The world number 9 eased past Miomir Kecmanovic to reach the round of 16 at the Paris Masters. Fellow Aussie Alexei Popyrin also advanced, upsetting world number 5 Daniil Medvedev. Popperin won the deciding set in a tiebreak. The LA Dodgers are Major League Baseball's World Series champs. 5-0 down against the Yankees in Game 5. The Dodgers launched an amazing comeback to win 7-6.
Strikes out swinging. Walker Buehler does it, and the Dodgers celebrate. They are the 2024 World Series champions.
Freddie Freeman, who hit 4 home runs, was MVP. Mitch, and the AFL never sleeps, does it?
No, just like rust.
Always produces.
Thank you very much indeed, Tim. Food, drink and entertainment. It's a winning trifecta at Flemington, and that's exactly what racegoers can expect in the Birdcage this year. Flemington is sparing no expense for the Cup Carnival, promising marquees bigger than ever.
An extravagant welcome to the exclusive Birdcage, where sports stars and celebrities will mingle.
A lot of luxury, a lot of beautiful champagne.
And guests will be given a first-class experience, flying high in a private jet in the Mum Marquee.
A unique experience, a once-in-a-life experience.
Hosted by Rebecca Judd, Crown has a 3-storey structure.
There's amazing hospitality, beautiful drinks, freshly shucked oysters.
The Melbourne Cup arrived by Ballerina to the Lexus Marquee, where bubbles will be served.
Just a little aha moment.
Alongside a menu by culinary masters.
This is my first course for Landmark by Lexus, so it's the most amazing prawns that we've sourced from Queensland.
Penfolds is celebrating 180 years of wine. Secret bars will keep racegoers guessing.
Would you like a red experience or would you like the white experience?
Furphy has the only pub in the Birdcage serving traditional treats, while it's a whole new ball game for the former AFL boss, now in charge of TAB.
Tanks, boats, jets, helicopters, will happen around 2 o'clock on each day.
A day in the Birdcage is a marathon, not a sprint. So for any hair and makeup touch-ups, racegoers can head into the Runway Room Pamper Lounge, which is making its Flemington debut.
To be able to come and be pampered is just such a luxury.
Melina Saras, 7 News.
Jane's back now with the forecast. And Jane, how chilly is it to end the week?
Well, Mitch, we are 6 degrees below average, but it's much nicer by Saturday. And on tonight's bright side, the Australian celebrities lending a helping hand to sick kids. Hello again. We had a cool change sweep through during the afternoon. There were pockets of sunshine earlier before showers arrived. We briefly reached 18.7, but the wind change dropped it to 16 mid-afternoon, now 15. The showers have eased. There was patchy rain and storms in the far northwest, and cloud thickened as showers pushed across the south. Cloud spread into the north, but there's no wet weather. Local thunderstorms fired up only on the eastern ranges. Cold fronts are crossing southeastern Australia, with the last of these arriving overnight. And high pressure is back in charge. It's moving quickly. It'll be over us by tomorrow night. So get ready for a roller coaster. Strap in as we whip through all the ups and downs ahead. Tomorrow is the chilliest day of the week. Melbourne is in the mid-teens. Look how different it is on Saturday. Northerly winds let it rapidly warm up. Melbourne is in the high 20s. Sunday begins warm before the next cool change. By late afternoon, it's still warm to hot all through this northeastern half, with cooler air slowly pushing through. On Monday, that cooler air is right across the state, and that means good timing for the next big race day. Cup Day Tuesday is warm in the north and pleasant in the south. Melbourne should be just lovely. Around the nation tomorrow, a high risk of showers and storms, severe storms for Brisbane, 22 in Sydney, showers rolling through. Sunshine for Adelaide, while Perth reached the low 30s this afternoon. It's milder tomorrow. To Victoria, cloud lingers across all these parts of the south, the odd shower. The cloud takes takes a long time to clear, first inland, then later at the coast. A cool day. Meanwhile, the north is sunny all day and looking mild. Closer in, we are covered in grey cloud again tomorrow morning. The odd light shower, so a foggy, murky, gloomy cloud. Sunshine slowly appears in the afternoon, first in the north, taking until late afternoon near the coast. Expecting 16 in the city on a day with lingering grey cloud, finally clearing mid-afternoon. The sun will come out, but it takes a while. On the 8-day outlook, temperatures jump up on Saturday, 27, lots of sunshine. A cool change arrives on Sunday morning after a warm evening. On Monday, we're 19, but then back up to 25 on Cup Day Tuesday in sunshine. Lovely. Heading for about 32 on Wednesday, ahead of a late change. Heading for 16 tomorrow, cloudy for much of the time, but then that sunshine should finally appear later. Now to tonight's Bright Side.
Some star power, lending a helping hand for a good cause. Brett Lee, Harry Garside and Damien Cook were among a group of 11 celebrities who spent 24 hours living inside a Ronald McDonald house. Their mission, to gain a better understanding of what a family goes through when their child is seriously ill, all while raising vital funds to support the charity house.
Mitch, more than $15,000 was raised during this year's event. You can donate on the Ronald McDonald House Charities website.
It is a mouthful, isn't it?
It is indeed.
But it's still a great cause.
It's a great cause.
Thank you very much, Jane. And that's the way it is this Thursday, the 31st of October. Thanks for your company. For now, from the 7 News team, good night.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want. Download now.